Yes, folks, is it too much for us to ask our left-wing media and YouTube to show a little bit of balance in respect to church and mosque shootings, etc.? Now, when the terror attack first occurred in Christchurch, Jacinda Ardern media and YouTube showed Brenton Tarrant outside the Al Noor Mosque shooting his automatic rifle. And within days, all of that streamed footage disappeared. Yes, you will not find any of that streamed footage on YouTube anywhere. Not even edited versions of it. Now, obviously, we can't compare the Al Noor Mosque attack with the Texas church attack, but nevertheless, our media and YouTube have no problem showing an edited version of that live streamed material. Have a look.
There have been what appear to be two major hate crimes against religious groups committed in the United States, one against Jews in New York, the other against Christians. A warning, some viewers may find the video in our next story disturbing, as a terrifying attack in a Texas church was caught on camera. CBS's Farah Fazal has more.
Just as church members were passing the collection plate in a Sunday morning service at West Freeway Church of Christ, a man seen in a far corner in a large coat walks out to talk to someone in the aisle and then pulls out a shotgun and begins shooting. He shoots his first victim and then the second. Instantly, an armed security guard responded and shot the gunman while church members began...
Yeah. Now, folks, I saw the unedited version of this morning on YouTube, and I can tell you this. There's very, very little difference.
Screaming and ducking under pews. Several parishioners were armed and within seconds pulled their guns. But the gunman, who also died, had already killed two churchgoers.
Everything is under control?
While children and parents ran, a church leader tried to create calm.
We're here to help.
Now, folks, the only footage I've been able to find on YouTube showing the inside of the mosque is this. And it's not from the streamed material.
Friday prayers, which turned into this, a scene of devastation, of horror, of unutterable violence, the bullet cases on the floor, the victims, injured, dead, the shock on the faces of those who've survived, and the weapons.
Yeah, that's it. No shooter, no gunshots, no victims, and just a handful of people. Anyway, now to a bit about the church shooter.
CBS News correspondent Mireya Villarreal is in White Settlement, Texas. Mireya, what have you learned about the suspect?
So as of right now, we were able to confirm through Oklahoma court documents that the gunman had a history of violence and mental health issues. In fact, his ex-wife was granted an emergency protective order back in 2012 as they were getting a divorce. And so clearly these issues, along with his criminal past, which we also know he had some gun charges out of Texas and New Jersey as well.
Now, obviously this guy's a nutter, but I'm sure the left-wing media will find a way to label him a far-right extremist or something like that. Anyway, now to Quid Pro Joe and what he said about a new Texas gun law.
Joining me now is Texas Lieutenant...
Yeah, just a bit of background first.
Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. Governor, thank you so much for being here with us. First and foremost, there were two people that lost their lives, and we have to not skip past that. Those are families that are grieving in a church, in a community. That should have never happened. And God bless those people. I hope we do proper justice to their memory and wish them Godspeed.
Yeah, Jason, look, there were three heroes here. Richard White was pulling his pistol attempting to take down the killer, whose name we won't mention. And Tony Wallace was standing there, didn't have a chance to defend himself at all. And then Jack Wilson that you saw. And for people who know firearms, it's one thing to go to the shooting range, Jason, as many of us do in Texas and other places in America, and be able to fire a shot at 10 or 15 yards on target. It's another thing when someone's pointing a shotgun at you and the adrenaline is flowing. And he took that in 6 seconds, it was over. You see, there are a lot of people in this country, led by the Democrats and the radical left, and Joe Biden, who highly criticized our law when we passed it, to allow members to conceal carry in church, to allow churches to have their own security force. We passed those 2 bills in the last 2 years in Texas. And we know,
you know, Governor, let me
Yes.
jump in there, because you're right.
Yes.
First of all, that shot was amazing, and it comes with, you know, muscle memory and great training, and having the guts to do it and being the right person at the right time. The second part is the ability and the thought and the preparation that church has. But you're right, Joe Biden took a position and was chastising the governor of Texas for this. We have the sound of that. Watch this.
It is irrational, with all due respect to the governor of Texas, irrational what they're doing. We're talking about loosening access to have guns, be able to take them into places of worship, store them in school. I mean, it's just absolutely irrational.
The guy is a complete buffoon. Somehow it's irrational for people to defend themselves?
Governor,
well, I have a message for Joe Biden. We passed that bill out of the Senate. I'm proud of it, Senate Bill 635 and Senate Bill 2065. And let's be very clear to the American people that Joe Biden is dangerous. He's not just an idiotic person who says impossible, absurd things, and he's not just naive, but he's dangerous. Americans who have to understand, whether you believe in owning a gun or not owning a gun, that the Democrats are dangerous. If they get elected to the White House, they will pass executive orders to take your guns, take your ability to protect yourself, your family, your property, and your friends, as those men did yesterday. It's idiotic to say to the American public that we want to take your guns and that's going to make people be better. There's evil in this world, Jason.
Exactly.
There's darkness and there's light, and we all know it. And that was evil yesterday. And first responders, God bless them, they were there within a minute. But this was over in 6 seconds, and if Jack Wilson had not taken down that killer, there could have been 10 or 15 people killed before the police got there.
Oh, no.
Exactly. Without question, that law saved lives. But the left don't care about that. They would rather take your guns away, just like Jacinda Ardern is doing here.
Immediate response. It's the citizens' response that's the most important to stop these shooters.
That's right. Now, explain to the viewers at home, what was the law that Texas changed, and what did that church do in preparation? We've got a short amount of time, but explain to us what changed at that church.
Very quickly. So after the Sutherland shooting at that church several years ago, I asked the Attorney General, Ken Paxton, if indeed the law allowed us to conceal carry as it was written. And he gave an opinion back to us in the Senate and said, yes, if the church allows it. Now, the church, like any other private institution or private business, could post a sign and say you can't. I have not found a church yet who's posted that sign. There may be somewhere. But they know that their men and their women in there are going to be well-trained, their own security volunteer team. Some are off-duty police officers and sheriff's deputies, and they're going to protect their congregation, and they're going to protect the pastors. Look, Jason, people who don't know pastors personally don't know how many threats they get. Don't know how many threats they get. This pastor had been threatened. I talked to him last night. Pastor Farmer had been threatened by this guy before. And so he came in a disguise. They were watching him. But, you know, you can't pull your gun first. You have to react. And he pulled his shotgun out from under his coat, and Jack Wilson reacted, as did Richard White.
Listen.
Richard White was killed. Jack Wilson took him down. So that's the law we changed, that you can carry if a church allows it.
Listen.
Now that law is smart, and it's about time New Zealand started adopting similar laws. But sadly, New Zealanders are not permitted to own guns for self-protection reasons. Anyway, folks, I wish you all a happy new year, and let's hope Jacinda Ardern goes this year. And also I've posted a link to Cross the Rubicon's podcast again on the comments page, so I hope you can get there again as well.